Okay, we are live. In just a minute, we're going to be starting the session with Jonas. And yeah, if you want to get one of these sessions yourself to anyone who's watching, you can do so with the link in the description. The first link leads to the video that we're watching, and then after that, it leads to, like, the other links lead to the page with all the information you'll need. So now we just wait until Jonas gets here. Hello, Aubrey in the chat. Yes, you are the first chat. Thank you to everyone for watching, and thank you for being patient. If he doesn't show up soon, I'm going to send another email and see what's going on. I'm just sending him another email. And if he doesn't show up soon, we'll cut it and I'll talk to him and we'll reschedule. But we'll see what happens. So if anyone in chat has any questions, I can answer those until Jonas gets here. Oh. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So I've got your average right here, and I'm just going to go through it at quarter speed and go through what I see and what you can improve on.
Sure.
And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to interrupt me at any time.
Okay, sure.
Okay, let's get started. So is there anything specific you were wondering or anything going into this?
Basically what I did was actually take this half hour just to like test your services a bit and see if I would like to like take more 1 hour sessions.
Okay.
To be fair, and this is actually an average I had analyzed by the service provided by Jaden McNeil, and I was actually wondering what somebody else's input would be on it.
I mean, I think he goes into a lot more depth. I think it's harder to go in depth in sort of a video call, but I think I would come up with some of the same advice that he has, but we'll see.
But if anything specific, especially places where I could have improved on F2L efficiency would be nice.
Yeah, and we'll definitely take a look at that. I did see a few things when I was watching this earlier, and I'll point those out as well.
Sure.
So, okay, this is your inspection. So, here we go. And so right here, this is something that I noticed, I think 2 or 3 times in the average, that you would have either a big pause during cross or right after cross. And so I'm wondering if that means that you sometimes don't plan your entire cross in your inspection.
The weird thing is I plan my entire cross during inspection. I just don't know why I pause during that stage. It just like, I think it's double checking for something I know I should do fluidly.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be that you're just getting lost in the moment. But with this, and I'm pretty sure you know this, the more you do this, the more confident that you can be that you don't need to double check your cross. You can be confident that you know what to do, and you can be looking ahead for other things.
Yeah.
But then you do spot your cross and you finish that off. And then right away, I see this pair, and I think that's what you do next. So yep, you just take a second to spot that, and then you solve that. That's all good. So let's see. There's nothing super obvious here. There aren't really any great pairs. Okay, so you take that out, and then you're going to solve that. And I'd say that was a really smart move to just wait and make the right decision instead of hurrying to do a worse pair. And then that leads to this. You looked ahead for that quite well. And then you got that. And you didn't have to rotate, or actually, you had that in the back left, and you would have to rotate. But even then, in the back left, it's not a big deal that you had several cube rotations here, because that made it a bit more ergonomic to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was actually kind of a tough F2L case, just having that. If I just go back a minute. So when you started that F2L case, sorry, that wasn't far back enough. Actually, there is sort of an advanced F2L thing you can do from this position. It's a little bit awkward going into the back left, but what you can do for this case is L2, F prime, L prime, F, L prime. and that will connect the pair, and then you can insert it into the back.
Oh. What I could also done intuitively, which I do sometimes, I think, is to actually break it up like L prime, U prime, L, and then U2, and then rotate and insert.
Yeah, that would have been good as well. All of those are good options. There isn't really one best one because that is an awkward pair. And then that leads you into this OLL. And I'm wondering, do you do any sort of COLL or corner recognition or anything like that?
No, at the moment I'm just working on CLL for 2x2, and learning CLL. I would like to take that practice and then later on implement it and start learning COLL for 3x3.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I just noticed that because you do have a nice case here where you have these two stickers matching that corner and that corner, and then these two are opposite colors. And there you have, I don't know if you've learned this CLL already. It's F R prime, F prime R, U R, U prime, R prime.
I've learned. Wait, which one is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Okay.
So that worked for this OLL as well.
Oh yeah.
For that.
Okay.
And so I use the algorithm that you use as well. I just can recognize the corners and tell when to use which case, and then you get an F perm. And so you do your F perm nice. So it looks like you're pretty good on the efficiency part. So your F2O efficiency is actually pretty good for the most part. And if there's any problems with it, we'll see on the next few solves. Just some of the things that stood out to me watching earlier were just that pause that I pointed out during cross. And then it seems like some of the time your finger tricks aren't super fluid.
Yeah, I noticed.
And I think that's holding you back a little bit. It's not a huge problem for you, but I can notice it a little bit sometimes. So let's see what you do here. So I think that's a pretty nice cross solution. But one thing that I do see is when you do this L move, you're building a block here because you have that corner solved as well.
Yeah.
So then
if I insert the edge, I can build an X cross.
Exactly. Yeah. And your edge is right here. So that wouldn't, so you could actually just do U R prime, U prime R from that position and have an X cross. I don't know, that's not super easy to spot in the moment, but if you can spot it before you plan your cross, or if you can spot it during inspection, that can be really useful.
Yeah. If I use unlimited inspection, I try to like spot those cases, but with limited inspection, I sometimes stress after the 8-second mark, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna do cross and see and hope for the best.
Yeah, and unlimited inspection is actually a really good practice for building these good habits. So next I saw you did this blue and red pair, but you accidentally inserted it into the wrong slot here.
Yeah, I made a mistake. I don't think.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, but it did set up your blue and orange, which lets you fix it right away. And you insert your pair. Let's see what you have left. Okay, you connect that. It's very nice. And then you insert this. one thing that you can do here is I can tell that when you do this algorithm to insert your edge, it will give you a .oll. So when you connect them like this, you can do a sledgehammer to insert this instead. And that would keep you from getting a .oll. And then you get your Y-perm. And it seems like you have very good last layer habits in terms of not cube rotating or anything like that.
If I get the good cases, I know if I get G-perms, I have some bad habits of having to actually align everything to recognize them.
Yeah, that G-perms can be difficult to recognize at first. Again, that just takes a lot of time and practice. But again, it looks like your efficiency is very nice. Okay, let's see what you have here. And do you only do white cross?
I do white yellow.
Okay. And then
I know in the average of 5 I only do white cross, but that was kind of strange. Just like
and then and that was a good cross solution, I'd say. It's you had a little bit of hesitation before inserting the red edge, but you fixed that pretty quickly. And then the first pairs I see are this green and red, and then this green and orange.
mm-hmm.
Actually, okay, so you're doing green and red here. And that's actually very smart, doing the sledgehammer F2L case. That's very nice. And then, yep, blue and red's a good choice. And that sets up, yeah, you're getting a bit lucky here. You're getting some nice F2L cases. And then when you're in a solve, of course, do you think that you would see this case and then start looking ahead right away?
I'm working on that, but it depends on the case. Sometimes I would recognize and sometimes I just wouldn't recognize a case. But at the moment, I can't really see what's going on this frame exactly.
Okay, let me move to a frame where it might be easier to see what case that is. Can you kind of see what that?
Is the white at the right there?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it depends on the solve, but if I'm feeling good that day, if my look ahead is decent, I would know white get on top, and I'd have to align the edge to actually be able to pair them up. So insert here, and then do final pair.
Yeah,
I would be able, but depends on the day.
Yeah, that's very good. If you have a very simple F2L pair, with practice, it will be very easy to predict where your pieces will be in a situation like this, and it makes look ahead very easy. So there, it was a little bit more rough, and you had to cube rotate and then cube rotate back. You have your OLL, and then you have an R-perm.
And see, there I didn't have the good habit of actually not just doing U and getting myself an AUF-less.
Would that get you AUF-less? Let's check.
It should have given me AUF-less if I did a U prime.
Oh, yeah, it could have. You're right. And so yeah, that's an example where it's not the worst, I think, because it was already aligned. But you're right, there is no downside to just doing a U prime there, because then you wouldn't have an AUF and you wouldn't have to cube rotate. But I think that's the only time in this average you do something like that. So, let's see. What's going on this solve? Right away, I see you've got... I can't see where your blue and red edges are, but you've got a really easy way to solve your green and orange.
I think they're both in the. I think they're both in the cross at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, yep, you solved that very well. And I think you spotted your first pair in your inspection here.
One thing I can say about that solve, Jaden pointed it out that there was a 4-move X cross on that solve on white, which I didn't see.
Do you have the scramble?
They're in the description on YouTube.
Oh, let me check. I'd say it's good that you planned your... Oh, yes, there is. And I'm sure that you can see that now.
I haven't... Wait, I think I should... Can you go back and then I can scramble my cube?
Can you...
I can read it. Yeah, I have to scramble here.
Can you see that? You can see the X... Like, yeah, that's a very clear X cross.
It's wait, what? What am I?
The red and green pair.
Yeah. Still don't see it somehow.
Let me see if I misscrambled or something.
No. It's probably the red and green one. The only other one I would see as a possibility is the blue-orange one, as the edge is already solved and you will not screw that one up.
Yeah, and that's the pair that you did first in your solve.
Yeah.
But if you hold yellow on top and green in front, then you can do an X cross with F, U prime, R prime, F.
Yeah. Should have done that. Should look more into X cross solutions, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's something it's very situational when you can recognize it, but if you can take advantage, it's very nice. But you still did spot your blue and orange pair in inspection, so that's still pretty good. And then you solved your green and red, and you solved that well. And then you've got your blue and red pair, or you can do green and orange, and I think the green and orange corner is in its slot. Oh, no, it's not. So, yeah, doing blue and red was the right choice there. And you've got this easy F2L case. So you've got nice F2L decision making. Some of the only things are, like you mentioned, with the X cross, and that's more about observation than about F2L. And the one thing is, there is a better algorithm for this G-perm.
Yeah, I think is this a GA or the GC one?
GC.
Yeah, okay, GC. I'm gonna change my GA and my GC algs because I really don't like them. I mean in two-handed, obviously.
Yeah.
For one hand, this alg is pretty decent, I think.
Yeah, this is the better algorithm for one-handed, but there are some better options for two hands. But that was either your fast, I think, yeah, that was your fastest solve of the average. So that was still nice. And I think that's mostly because of spotting your first pair in inspection.
Yeah. If it wasn't a G perm, I think that should have been a sub 13 time.
Yeah, probably. You did lock up a little bit on those last few moves with the wide F moves. You've got a lot of blocks here. I'm going to see if I can find an X cross on this one. So actually, you have, what I would do here is preserve the green and orange pair that's already made.
I think I did that. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, let's check.
I think that's something I should have definitely seen.
I mean, the way to save it isn't super easy, but we'll see what you do.
The way I would save it right now would be U prime with yellow on top, orange front, then solve green, solve blue, and then D2.
Yeah, that works. I would do it a little. I would have done something a little bit different with red in front, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't think that preserved the pair, but now you can like see what would have preserved the pair now, and you just told me about it.
Yeah.
So if I look now, after that, the first pair I see is green and red, and I think that's what. Okay, actually, you saw green and orange. Let's see where that was. Okay, so you insert that edge, all right, and then you've got green and red. So I think there, you did a couple extra cube rotations. So I think you were just cube rotating to look for pieces a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, for most of the rest of this average, you've done a very good job of waiting and looking for the best option before doing any extra turns or cube rotations. So I think this is just an exception for some reason. And then you solve your blue and orange, and it sets up your blue and red. And then, unfortunately, you got another .OLL.
And I know I should do that U2 prime instead of U2.
I'd say it doesn't matter as much as long as you do the double flick with whichever hand. Like I would do it, yeah, I would do it U2 prime, but if you do it as U2 with the double flick, that's still pretty good. And then here you have an R perm, and you do a good job of not cube rotating. And then that finished off your average. So overall, I think that your solves are very nice, especially when it comes to your F2L efficiency and decision making. I think that's very nice, and a lot of your last layer habits are very good as well. I think there's two things that sort of stand out to me as things you can start to work on, which are being a little bit more observant with your cross in terms of X crosses or finding your first pair or even finding a more efficient way of doing the cross.
Yeah.
I think that would be something that that you could work on, because as you saw, the fastest solving your average was your fastest because you spotted your first pair in inspection and there was no pause.
Yeah.
That's what made the big difference. And then the other thing I think is your finger tricks in some cases could flow a little bit better, and that could save some time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say you do a pretty good job of turning fast, and I saw that several times in your average. But sometimes in algorithms, and I think that happened with your RPerm at the very end here, you can there are ways you can flow a little bit better. Like you ended with the R prime, F prime, R2. After, I don't know if you can see it clearly on my screen, but after the F prime with your thumb, you should be able to.
Yeah, the drag or something.
Yeah, just do the R2 right after the F prime without re-gripping. And that's something that you can just practice. You can be doing something else. You can be watching TV or something and just be holding a cube and doing some turns.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be really simple to practice. But for practicing the cross, a lot of what you can do would be watching example solves or just forcing yourself to either plan your first pair or find an X cross on every scramble with unlimited inspection. And I think doing something like that would help you form some really nice habits for how you treat your inspection and your cross.
Yeah, what Jaden recommended me was doing blindfolded cross solves.
Yeah, and that definitely works as well.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more for planning your cross than sort of efficiency with it, but they would both be helpful, yes.
One random question. My goal for this year would try to get like around 12-ish seconds. What would good splits be, more or less?
Oh, splits. Let's see. I'd say at 12 seconds, you should be done with your F2L. So are you going for like sub 12 or just in the 12 range?
I would like to get by the end of the year or maybe beginning next year sub 12 average, but
I'd say if you can finish your F2L by about 8.5 and then do your last layer in 3.5 seconds, that gets you to 12 seconds, and then any faster than that is sub 12. And that's about what I think is normal.
Okay.
So do you have any other questions or anything?
Best resource on ALG finger tricks.
With ALG finger tricks, sometimes you'll be able to find videos explaining how to do an algorithm. And if you can't, then a lot of the time you'll have to sort of figure it out on your own. And a lot of it is just whatever works for you.
Yeah. A lot of triggers are usually really straightforward, but then there's a few cases where I'm like, yeah, if I do this, I probably could shave off like 0.1 or 0.2 on the ALG.
Yeah, and a lot of the time there will be a very simple algorithm but there will be a really complicated way to do it that makes it completely re-gripless. And if you can get good at sort of discovering those ways on your own, that can be a really good way to improve your finger tricks and have really nice execution. But yeah, unfortunately, there aren't really any great resources for finger tricks.
Yeah.
So if you come up with any more questions, feel free to email me and ask.
Sure.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on here.
Thank you. I think I will in the future, like in a month or so, maybe take like 1 or 2 1-hour sessions, depending on how much time I have.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
See ya.